On this episode of Real Home Recording, I'm checking out Acustica Audio's brand new Amber4 Ultra plugin. Just the equalizer section though. Here's how it sounds. This is kick drum, obviously. I'll disable it and then I'll enable it once it's playing. So I basically just cleaned up the noisier parts of the kick drum that aren't really that important to be poking through in the mix. Yes, when it's bypassed, it sounds fuller, but that's because, again, I'm trying to mix something with a bunch of other tracks, and so you want to pull out those unimportant elements, and that's what I'm doing right there. That's the intention of my equalization. Okay. So I'm only doing one EQ move. If you look closely on the high mid frequency band, I could just disable these other ones because I'm not even using them. And that's about it. Just one boost. And now some people may think that's thinning them out a little bit too much, but it's all a judgment call when you're mixing, because here's the thing. I also have a bass guitar. So yeah, by itself, it is thin, but it's also playing along with a bass guitar, so. So for the bass guitar, I really just liked the way the tone sounded. And I wasn't even going to really EQ it at all. And I'm like, it could use a tiny bit of a bass boost. So I only gave it, a 4 decibel shelf boost, which I guess really isn't like that tiny. But overall, I don't even think it really needed much equalization at all. I really could have just not EQ'd it, but I did anyway. If you don't have a subwoofer, you're not going to hear the difference. Let's go back to the drum rooms. Now for this one, I did a low mid cut and then a high shelf boost because it needed to be cleaner sounding. All right, now let's add the kick drum to that. And now I'm going to bypass these using Reaper's bypass as it plays. See, to me, that just sounds clearer, more defined. Yes, it's not as thick sounding, but I don't want thick going on when it comes to, because it takes up energy from the bass guitar, and I'll actually add that next into the mix. And then finally, the electric guitar, I'll add that. Here out, there's a space for all the different instruments now, and it's still not finished because I need to add compression and make some more finer adjustments to the volume, to the volume sliders. But the difference between these plugins being enabled and disabled is pretty big to me. Clean electric guitar, I didn't play that part. So just a little bit of a high shelf boost. And by the way, I'm joking. It's 15 decibels of a high shelf boost because I really wanted some presence and air being brought out of that amp, and I thought that it was necessary. By the way, whoever recorded this did an excellent job. Just like anything, when you record something, a lot of times you still need to EQ it, no matter what, no matter how good your microphones are, no matter what you set your guitar amps to. And but whoever recorded this did an excellent job. So one more thing to show you guys, and that is the vocal track, and I'll have everything together. Oh, and also the mix bus, I just have Ozone 7. I mean, Ozone 11, I mean. Jeez. But anyway, Ozone 11 maximizer, just, barely doing anything. All right, lead vocals. So I actually am just going to disable all these plugins, and I forgot to re-up my Lemon trial, so I can't show you guys the delay. But let's see.
A sleepless night, tossing, turning in bed, won't get out of my head. No, the sun's shining bright.
Okay, so the first thing I heard listening to these dry vocals is that it's a little sibilant. And it's dry because I believe it was recorded in a vocal booth. And yeah, that's the whole point, is that you're going to have vocals that don't have any reverb, but it tends to do a number to the clarity of the vocal. So when I used Amber, first thing I did is I cut the low mids right there. What was that, 300? Yeah, 289 hertz approximately. And I did a 6.4 decibels cut there. And then I also, so there's a trick I do. I didn't invent this, obviously, but it's called frequency sweeping. And what I did is I narrowed the frequency by putting the width all the way to 0. And then I just slowly adjusted my frequency knob until I found the spot where the frequencies were the most harsh. Anytime there was a sibilant sound, such as an S being sung. And then from there, I then dipped my gain down until it no longer sounded bad. Now, I don't have a de-esser on this yet. I will, but I wanted to show the plugin off by itself without any de-essing. And I'm still going to make more adjustments once the whole mix is going together, because if the lead vocals aren't cutting through enough, it's a problem.
A sleepless night, tossing, turning in bed, won't get out of my head. No, the sun's shining bright, not enough to light the darkness deep inside.
So do you hear how that makes the vocals more clear with the low mid cut, but at the same time they are less harsh sounding because of that high mid frequency cut?
A sleepless night, tossing, turning in bed, won't get out of my head. No, the sun's shining bright.
So that part right there, the sun shining bright, that gave me a lot of good sibilants to work with. So listen to the difference. Bypassed and then enabled.
Sun shining bright, sun shining bright, sun shining bright, sun shining bright, sun shining bright.
Okay, and now let's add the compressor, which I like an LA3A kind of compressor for vocals. And then this reverb, Acustica Silver, is a sampling, I believe, of the Yamaha SPX something reverb. I think the 990? Anyway, I will add the reverb as the track plays.
Sun shining bright, not enough to light the darkness deep inside. I hear a voice that's giving me no choice.
Now I will enable the FX while the whole thing's playing.
A sleepless night, tossing, turning in bed, won't get out of my head. No, a sleepless night, tossing, turning in bed, won't get out of my head. No, the sun shining bright.
Yeah, definitely an improvement, but still needs a de-esser, also known as a dynamic equalizer, to get the final process sound. Okay, so it's a work in progress, but I'm happy with the way Amber sounded, so I want you all to check out Amber Ultra, 30-day trial. I'll provide all the links below.